You mentioned your current position, a judge in the Trial Division, Court of Common Pleas in Philadelphia. You have vast experience, 24 years as a judge. What has your experience shown you? And, here, obviously, you want to keep going. You want to move up. You must enjoy what you do.
Oh, I do. Look, as a common pleas judge, you get general jurisdiction in hearing cases. I've had experience in 25 years now, it's almost 25, for family court, criminal division, and civil division. And I was a leader in the court system, appointed as the leader of the family division as the chief administrative judge. So I've had administrative experience along with trial experience. I also was head of complex litigation, and I was the team leader in the motion courts in the civil division. I could tell you that you get to hear the facts and you hear the witnesses. In the appellate court now, you don't. You review what the trial court has done. So I think my vast experience and the knowledge I've gained in all those areas uniquely qualify me to sit on the Supreme Court, because I would be able to understand what's going on that trial level in all areas of cases that would come before me. And I think that's very important. So the candidates in this race, some never sat in civil, some never sat in criminal, some never did any family law. But I've had the good fortune of being able to preside in all those areas, and I do enjoy it.
You talked a little bit earlier about party machines and how if you're that nominee and get those signatures, you're almost always the one who gets the nomination. Sarah Palin has talked about this too when you look at the anointing, really, of so many candidates on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. And I think that independent streak will speak to people. Another thing that I know is that, a lot of these folks, if they think they're already in, they take things for granted. And recently there was a debate and you were the only one that showed up for it. So what does that show as far as you, contrasting you with your candidates? I mean, are they thinking this is a slam dunk here and you're fighting for every vote?
Yeah, I think the major parties are basically kind of ignoring my candidacy. They didn't, when I was getting signatures, it's a funny thing. No one thought I'd ever get 16,000 signatures, and they know that I would have needed almost double that because they know that they would try to knock me off the ballot for some bad signatures in that bunch if I just got the minimum number. But I fooled them because it was the people. They lined up to sign those petitions because the people want a choice. When you go through the process, it's rigged against the ones that the party elite want. I mean, they want certain candidates when the process starts, and it's a parade to go through the process in a sense. And everybody thinks it's fair, but the leadership is the one that already has certain candidates anointed and pushes those candidates throughout the process. The public is not aware of all of that. The public can't be because it's the state committees that do the endorsement process. But then the public gets to vote in the primary, right? Well, we all know that, and you have a chance to vote for anybody, but it's very seldom that anyone can beat the party choice because at that point, the public doesn't even come out much to vote in the primary because the party candidates have so much control of the process. The party endorsed candidates through the party committees. So it was hard. I ran 3 times against the party in a primary, and I finally got upset and tired of it. And this year I said, I'm not doing it. I'm just going directly to the people. And I'm hoping that the people realize there is an independent on the ballot, Paul Panepinto, my website. Please go to it, www.judgepanepinto.com. And Panepinto is spelled Panepinto. And it's important because on that website, you'll see my accomplishments. You'll see many accomplishments that I've achieved that have local and national recognition. No other candidate has those accomplishments. They could not boast about it. And I'm honest about it, and I am sincere in what I can do to bring the experience that I have throughout all of Pennsylvania. And I'm anxious to do that for the people of Pennsylvania.
You mentioned about how hard it is for someone to win when they're not the party choice. The other thing to look at, too, and another great reason that you're running as an independent, I feel, even when they do pull the upset, then a lot of times the party leaves them out to dry in the general. We've seen that so many times. Christine O'Donnell, Brett Schundler. I mean, the list goes on and on. Or, but we also know when people stand up, we see what happened to Eric Cantor. We see what happened to Kevin McCarthy. The people still do have the power. Now, speaking of power, you have a lot of supporters out there in Pennsylvania, but you have a secret weapon, too, and that's your family. Not only your wife, but your kids are unbelievable. Your two children, they're out there really working hard and really giving heartfelt pleas and endorsements of Dad.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate, and my whole family, and that includes my brothers and sisters, my wife, of course, first, and my children. But as you said, because you know them, and I know you met my son, but I have to say, we're hard workers, and we've earned what we've achieved in our own right. But this vision for Pennsylvania and as a judge to move up to the Supreme Court is one that I've had, and they have supported that and worked hard to help me to get there. I just hope the people of Pennsylvania understand that we need to have diversity and we need to have independence in our judiciary. It's a little different for politicians because politicians, as some of the ones you mentioned, they have issues and they can talk, and you have to, kind of dissect it and see which category you fall in to see who you're going to vote for. But judges can't talk about issues. We only rule on the law based on the facts before us. It's very hard to talk about, we're not allowed to talk about issues of things that may come before the court. So you have to look at the person, the character, the integrity, and the record. And that's why I bring everybody back, not only to the website, but to my history, and to compare it with the other candidates. You had 3 votes here in Pennsylvania, by the way. So I'm hoping everybody votes for the independent to send a message. And by the way, I would be the first independent judge elected in Pennsylvania in its history. And it's the oldest Supreme Court in the United States. We have 311 years of existence. No independent has ever run or has ever won that office. And this is a historic chance for the people to get involved to make this happen for them and for the best interest of all Pennsylvanians. I also want to say in terms of the court, there's 3 seats open, and there's never been 3 seats open since the Queen of England appointed people to the Supreme Court 311 years ago when we were under British rule. So we have something to talk about here in Pennsylvania, and I just hope the voters go out there and look for my name on the ballot for the Supreme Court, Paul Panepinto.
And, Judge, it gives people hope if you can pull this off, because seeing that independence and seeing someone going out there and running just, on ethics and on integrity and on your record would really give people hope, because they need to see results. So many people, they work hard on a campaign and then they say, oh, man, look at this, the establishment wins again, and they get in and don't do anything, whether it is an elected official that is a lawmaker or even, these races that we're highlighting on this election year. Before we let you go, and we certainly will direct people to your website as we want people to learn more about your candidacy and if they can help out as we head toward Election Day. Again, it's judgepanepinto.com. If you want to check out the website, also a Facebook page for the Panepinto campaign. But let me ask you real quick, can you just highlight for us a little bit about your background? What does make you qualified for this position? And everybody talks about your integrity and about ethics. Tell everybody a little bit about who Paul Panepinto is.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in the Overbrook section of Philadelphia. I'm the oldest of 5 children. My parents raised us in a row home. We worked as young kids because we didn't have very much. I know my dad couldn't afford to send me to college, but I was very fortunate to work hard in high school, and I won a full academic scholarship to Villanova University. I graduated, and I went in the evening division to Widener University School of Law in Delaware. I was very fortunate then, too, because after I got out of Villanova, I got a job in the court system, and I got to see what the attorneys do, what the judges do, and what happens in our city. And I was very interested in the law, and then I went in the evening division and became an attorney, practiced for 15 years. I was appointed by a Democratic governor, Governor Casey, to the Common Pleas Court, but I had to win an election. And a year and a half later, I ran on both the Republican and Democratic tickets. And I won election in my own right. in 1991, and that was a feat in and of itself because Philadelphia was a Democratic and is a Democratic, 8-1 Democrat over Republican, and I won on both tickets. I was then in the court system, serving 24 years, and as I mentioned earlier, the chief of family court, which is I was an expert in the family court area of the law, and I became a judge in that division and ran that division. I had 900 employees under me and 25 judges assigned to that division. And then I went on to the civil division, and I'm now assigned in the criminal division. So I've had a long history of work in the system and in the community also, in my work, dealing with solutions to problems. You know, it's one thing to rule on cases, but when you have a chance to develop programs that help and work for the people, that's what's important. So I'd like you to, if you look at my website, you'll see the news articles and also see a video. Creative Judge is working to do things, thinking outside the box to help the system. They are wonderful programs that recognize the importance of getting kids educated, stopping truancy, stopping violence in the community, and also helping to get child support for kids and moms who really need, you know, the money, and not to hurt dads, but to help dads to get a job. So we're working for a practical solution, not just to put people in jail and throw away the key, but to find ways that we can make citizens more productive. With the court system working with them, of course, we have the stick of, you know, if you don't cooperate, you know, you can go to jail or you can be in contempt. But I think the first way to do this is to try to solve the problem and work with the person. And that's what I'm all about. But the family has been supportive, and my career is one that I'm proud of. I've served in other community organizations. And by the way, my son and my wife and daughter and I and my family, we help serve food at soup kitchens, and we have, worked, with church groups to help the community. And we're very proud of the things that I am, at least, of what my wife and kids have done over the years, too, in this regard.
Well, absolutely. It has been all hands on deck. We know that you're getting that support there, and we hope you get a lot of support come Election Day. He is Paul Panepinto, independent candidate for Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And we wish you the best of luck, sir. And it's been a great career, but we hope there's a lot of chapters left in it and moving up here. And we are rooting for you and praying for you, and we'll be watching, and we're going to direct everybody to that website. Hopefully you get some more volunteers and contributions as you head toward the finish line here. And thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself immensely, and I want to invite you to the swearing in. November the 4th, after you hear that I win, please come to the swearing in. As a matter of fact, I'm going to invite everybody to that swearing in. No politicians, though.
Hey, that's our kind of party. That is our kind of party. We're hoping to have that type of – you need that in Washington, too. Hey, that is tremendous. Thank you so much, sir. Be well.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Bye.